You look good. You look good. So, Rye, one of the things I talked about yesterday was getting their food right.
Hmm.
Obviously, right? Getting your food on point, getting your optimizing your food, optimizing your hormones, so things will work better, right? And how else you can optimize is through supplementation, but not just like hormones. What else is going to help us optimize our body and our results? We're like peptides because we're dealing not only are we dealing with like the inflammation and the excess weight and the things that come with us maturing, but we're also dealing with aches and pains, like degenerative disc disease. We're dealing with, achy joints and tight muscles and nerve issues. So that's why one of the things I wanted to talk about peptides, and we won't get into all of that, but I do want to talk about the three main peptides that we've fallen in love with. So when they do their consult, they can make a decision whether they want to add that into their regimen. First thing though, let's assume nobody knows what a peptide is. Can you tell us what a peptide is and why they're so why you feel they're so miraculous?
Yeah, and they are in a sense, the easiest way to explain what they do is they're rocket fuel for the right peptide specific to whatever you're trying to speed up quick, or speed up, heal, grow, shrink, whatever the issue is. It's rocket fuel for it. So really, peptides are nothing more than small or short chains of amino acids, which amino acids, remember, are the building blocks of protein. So they're cell signaling molecules, and what they do is they act like messengers in your body, and they basically transport or transmit information between cells. And they're used for a wide range of functions in the body, things that I was just alluding to, such as fat loss, muscle growth, wound healing, anti-aging and longevity, brain function, memory and cognition, cognitive enhancement, um, boosting your immunity, helping with your skin and your hair. I mean, the list literally goes on and on and on as far as what they do. And I know I've said this before, and I'm going to just keep hammering this home that I believe that right now in this, I don't know what we call it, a renaissance age
Mm.
of functional regenerative medicine, um, there's probably not an ailment out there that cannot be fixed through proper therapies, utilizing first hormones, balancing hormones, and then peptides. Because that's literally what they are. What I love most about peptides, unlike someone taking like an NSAID, like an anti-inflammatory medication over the counter, which is just a band-aid to reduce inflammation and never targets the actual issue, what peptides do is they go to the root of the issue and fix the issue. They're actually improving the issue and getting rid of what's causing the actual problem, as opposed to just a band-aid,
Mhm. So you're
which
literally
is,
healing. You're,
yes,
yeah. Share a
totally.
bit of your experience
Mhm.
of using the peptides, uh,
Mm.
just
Huh. Which,
physically.
yeah, yeah. Well, the question really becomes which one, because I'm literally like a guinea pig when it comes to different peptides. I've tried a lot of them for personal use as well as for my own experience, and also to be able to experience them for other clientele and our clients and people who want to know about peptides, so I can tell them my firsthand experience.
Mhm.
Anecdotally on what I've used. But I've done things to literally heal tendons that were torn. If there's a full tear and a full separation, clearly it's not going to bring them back together. But few people, when they do injure themselves, ever have a completely full tear. If they do, it's from some type of athletic event. Um, but I've used them for memory, for cognitive function. It's amazing what they do for just getting rid of brain fog. I've used them for, again, like I said, healing tendons, speeding up muscle recovery, enhancing and speeding metabolic rate, and for fat loss, improving mitochondrial health, which is cellular energy. So as opposed to like this what I have right here, an Americano, nice energy, which is just caffeine, which is blocking the receptors of telling my body it's tired. Instead of that, it's giving your body cellular energy, which is completely different type of energy, which basically enhances everything in your body, including your focus. So
Mhm.
I've really much used peptide anti-aging. using ones now for skin health. It's just they're miraculous on again what they do. And the reason they're not all approved by they're not that they're not banned. Some of them are not banned by the FDA. They're not all approved. Is let's just call a spade a spade. It's unfortunately it's because or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, they work, and big pharma wants to figure out a way to monetize it. Some of the ones you've probably heard of are Ozempic,
Mhm.
or you've heard of Wegovy, or you've heard of man, what are some of the all the ones where they're singing commercials on TV?
Semaglutide is
So
like the,
yes, so you've got semaglutide and tirzepatide. All
okay,
the other names like Wegovy and Ozempic and feel free to mention some of the other ones, ladies. I'm having a think
Monjaro.
gap right now. Monjaro, yeah, all those ones are either semaglutide or
Mhm.
tirzepatide.
Mhm.
That's all they are, which are a peptide, which is a GLP-1, a glucagon-like peptide. And what they do is they essentially reduce your appetite, make you feel satiated quicker. So it reduces your caloric intake and helps to regulate and normalize your blood sugar, which is extremely important. The downfall to that is, I believe, twofold. One, they're overdosing it for people and they're reducing their appetite so much that they're becoming they're creating something called metabolic adaptation, which you've probably heard Lydia say, which is reducing the speed of your metabolic rate, which is never good. Because if you reduce your calories too much, your body will adapt to that and lower its baseline for what it thinks it needs, and then you will cause muscle loss. The second thing that's the problem, and probably the bigger problem, is lack of education when consuming these types of peptides. They are
Mhm.
incredible, but the lack of education comes from not just the dosing of it, and I don't agree with the way they dose it, but also lack of education when it comes to making sure you're eating a calorically dense diet, that you're getting enough calories and enough protein to support your muscle. Because the number one thing that you want to do going through life, especially starting at this age, men and women, is hold on to every bit of muscle you can and try to put as much on. What we want to do is stop focusing on weight loss or fat loss. When we say weight loss, we always mean fat loss, and focusing on muscle gain. That's the key to longevity. Is build muscle. It's not reduce fat, because when you build muscle, you will reduce fat. But when you lose fat, it doesn't mean you will build muscle. So you want to focus on building muscle, which literally speeds up the furnace, speeds up your thermogenic burn, speeds up your metabolism, which allows you to burn more fat, which also allows you to enjoy more food.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Well,
then, by the way, the difference too, and I'll say this: so the semaglutide is a single agonist. It's only a GIP. I'm sorry, a GLP-1, which is a glucagon-like peptide, which means it's going to help with appetite control and it's going to help with reduce it or to normalizing your blood sugar. Tirzepatide, where that came out after semaglutide, is it's a dual agonist, which means, by the way, when I say agonist, what I'm talking about is it's think of it like a lock and a key. So in pharmacology, right, an agonist is a molecule that it binds with receptors and it activates something. It activates the receptor. So think about like a lock and a key, and it basically fits into the lock, which is the receptor, and it unlocks it. So just
mhm.
think of it like that. So as an agonist, okay, so the one thing it's doing is it's unlocking the ability to reduce your appetite and to regulate and normalize your blood sugar. But the tirzepatide is what's called a dual agonist. And it works on two different hormonal pathways instead of one now. So now it's fighting fat two ways, not just through appetite control and regulating blood sugar, but also through the GIP receptor, which is a receptor that helps to manage how your body stores and burns body fat. So it's attacking it from two angles, and that's great. And that's why tirzepatide actually in clinical studies has better results as far as over the period of the study, more fat loss. Here's the problem with the two of them, though, and I don't quote me on this, but I know I don't remember the exact percentage, so forgive me on this. But with the semaglutide alone, which is only the GLP-1, the and I don't even remember the exact amount that they lost in total body weight, but I believe it's something crazy, like 50% of it was not just fat, it was also muscle, which
Yeah.
is automatically causing metabolic adaptation, which is horrible for you. Yeah, you
Mhm.
lost weight, but are you healthier now? Not necessarily. Possibly worse, possibly healthier. Depends on all the other factors. With tirzepatide as a dual agonist, I believe it was 30% of what they lost was still muscle. That's not good. It's better, but it's still not good. The missing link was with this newest peptide that's out now, the newest GLP-1, which is a GLP-1, a GIP, and also it's a triple agonist, which means it's literally targeting three hormonal pathways in the body, the GLP-1, the GIP, and something called the glucagon receptor agonist. So what that is, it's going to help to boost your metabolism and increase energy expenditure. What does that mean? Boost your metabolism. Literally speed up your metabolic rate. That is awesome. Like everybody wants that. So it's going to help break down stored body fat, which is lipolysis, right? It breaks down the stored body fat at a quicker, faster rate than your body is already doing, leading to an increase um, in your energy or your fat cells being used for energy, resulting in higher overall energy expenditure, which means what? Just simply burning more calories. So it's literally going to force your body to burn more calories. So that being a triple agonist, it's hitting fat loss from three different angles. But what's amazing about it is um, it's not just suppressing appetite, it's allowing your body to efficiently work better and burn more fat efficiently. But it also, the way I look at this peptide is the fact that it's really a tool for overall better health because it's
Mhm.
not it's if you look at all your different biomarkers, it's improving many of them along the way. Your app, so it's going to do things like help with your appetite. It's going to help with your fat metabolism. It's going to help with your energy use. So many different things that it's going to do. And
Liver fat.
what's yeah, another one. Thank you for saying that. It helps to reduce fat in your liver. It helps with there's neuro cognitive protective order properties for the brain. There's so many things that it does, along with again regulating your insulin levels, which is huge. But that's just that one pep. That to me is the I would say for anybody looking to drop body fat and overall improve their health, it's almost a no-brainer for that, at least for a period of time to utilize that because it gets your bodily functions working properly. And the goal of it too isn't to when you stop, it's like, oh, all of a sudden your hunger comes flying back and you're all these issues. No, the goal, and it's not something you stay on forever. Now, can you? You actually can, but you'd cycle it. And the reason you'd cycle something like that is because you don't want to downregulate your receptors. Okay. Just like if I drink coffee too much, eventually I'm going to have to consume more coffee to get the same effect.
Mhm.
So because we're down regulating those receptors, we want to do the same thing with peptides or anything. You want to cycle them in a proper way. But what I like about it too is the other ones, the other GLP-1s, really reduce food noise. What's that mean? Reduces cravings, reduces appetite to the point where sometimes you don't even want to eat. And we've met some people and went out to eat with people in the past that would have a bite of food and they'd be like, I can't even eat
Literally a bite.
because they literally, and I was happy because I could eat their meal, but it's like they didn't want to eat. I was like, what the heck?
Right.
They were trying a GLP-1 and it reduced their appetite so much. What I like about the retatrutide, one of many things, is the fact that it does reduce food noise. It does suppress your appetite a little bit, but not to the point where you're not going to eat, you can't eat, you won't get your calories, you won't get your protein in that you need. It won't. And also because you don't have to use as much of it. So you microdose it and you titrate up slow and slow. And the reason why is to mitigate side effects. And also because of the other hormonal pathways it's working on, it's not just hammering one. You're hitting it from
Mhm.
three angles. So if you think about it, it's like going into war, and if you're here and you're battling over here, if you're only attacking from this side, you got to give it all you got to take them out. But if you've got someone coming from behind and then someone from the side, either side, the defendant doesn't know where to look. You don't have to attack as hard because you're hitting them from multiple angles to destroy that, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know
totally.
where that analogy just came up. It just popped in my head. But it's a very, very, very powerful. And that's just the retatrutide. So to me, the way I would do it is first and foremost, as Lydia said, the number one thing that has to be done is optimizing your hormones.
Mhm.
Once that's done, then we can say, okay, now let's look to add in specific peptides that target specific things because your testosterone, your progesterone, your estrogen, all that has to be on point and
Mhm.
balanced to make everything else work that much better,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're gonna, I was gonna do an analogy, but then I lost it. But yeah, getting all it's taking the steps. You don't want to skip a step, right? Because a
Hmm.
lot of times, too often, like we try to work out really hard, or let's just do hormones, and they're wondering why I feel a little bit better, but not great. And it's because they're not getting, the food is still your energy source, no matter what. So
Hmm.
your quality of food and then your ratio, right, as far as your macronutrients are what's going to be key of really optimizing that. Now, Ryan, he mentioned the retatrutide because that's one that I've fallen in love with for our women. And but like Rye said, it's like we want you, even with like even getting your hormones tested. Do you have to wait? No, I just like people doing the cleanse before they get their hormones tested because so many symptoms are alleviated with the cleanse. But then doesn't matter if the symptoms are alleviated. BHRT is about optimizing your health, right?
Hmm.
Optimizing quality of life, but also optimizing your health, reducing your risk for the heart disease, the diabetes, the dementia, all the things that come with hormonal decline.
And also with that, what you just said, understand that, and I know you've said this a million times, but I just want to drive it home that when you get to a certain age, male or female, and it's probably more critical for women.
Mhm,
Um, BHRT is only a matter of when. It's not even
mhm,
if.
mhm.
The only place if that word if even fits into the equation or the conversation is if you want to feel good or if you want to feel crappy. Because if you want to feel a certain way on the positive side, it is what we call essential, meaning your body's no longer going to produce it. You have to consume it from an outside source, just like
Right.
essential fatty acids, essential amino acids. You need to consume them from an outside source because your body doesn't make it. Very, very important. And as Lydia said, with going through a cleanse first, it basically is cleaning up the mess, cleaning up the canvas to make sure that the blood work with are staying. Because remember, it's only blood work is a snapshot. It's not like
Snapshot.
doing your DNA, and it allows them to see the cleanest snapshot they can. To then, when the health professionals will say, "Okay, now I can tell you this is your testosterone, your progesterone, your estrogen. This is the amount you're going to need to optimize it." And we know that it's going to work more efficiently because we got the crap out of your system, if that makes sense. We help to reduce the inflammation as well. And then the peptides can come in and also say this, you don't have to do blood work for peptides. But I'll also say this, even though we're big proponents on saying, do your cleanse, do your consult, do your hormones, then do your peptides, I'm not at all against saying, if I've got an issue I'm dealing with, you can start on peptides immediately.
Mhm.
Absolutely. As long as you don't do peptides without the BHRT. Now, if your hormone panel comes back that you don't need it, which would be like
Amazing.
biblical, like oh my goodness,
Right.
then that's fine. But almost everyone is going to need it, men and women, right?
Mhm.
You can build testosterone a little bit by strength training and eating properly, but it's like you'll move the needle like a notch,
Yeah, it's
and
like
not to the point where you
DHEA.
would notice it that much. Exactly, like a
Mhm,
precursor to,
mhm,
but it wouldn't move it enough. So we don't want you to think, well, man, this sounds great. This red is awesome. And by the way, it is.
mhm.
It for food noise and cravings, it's remarkable. But don't feel like, oh, you got to wait a month or 2 months to even attempt utilizing something like that. Not at all. And also don't think that you have to utilize it. What I can tell you is my guess, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, then it would greatly speed up the results you're looking for because of all the different things that it does. And it
Mhm,
makes things just a lot easier.
mhm. Yeah. And Melissa, and I'm going to add to that, but Melissa had a question. She goes, are they taken orally and is the
Mhm.
dosing different for each peptide and is what is being used for side effects?
Yep.
So,
What is being used for it? And then it says side effects question mark. So I'm assuming
yeah,
is there side effects?
right. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I think is there side
Yes.
effects?
Yeah.
Well, is there,
Yes.
Okay.
Like what does it depend on what it's
Yep.
being used for, how it would be
Correct.
dosed, and then
Exactly.
are there side effects? Sorry.
Yep. No, a great question. So here's the thing. Let me pull up that question again so I can go one at a time. So how is it taken? Depends on the peptide. Okay, the one we just mentioned, the retatrutide, it's a subcutaneous injection. So it's an insulin needle. All right, it's absolutely tiny, 31 gauge, the size of a hair, and you would put it into a subcutaneous, so into like your abdomen. All right,
Mhm.
on out away from your belly button. You can also do other areas of your body. It's just the back of your arm, top of your thigh. It's just front of your thigh. It's the easiest way to do it, and you really barely feel it. It's a little pinch maybe, or sometimes you don't feel it at all. That retatrutide has to be taken through an injection. When you receive it, it's already reconstituted. You don't have to do the math. You don't have to figure out how many units do I draw. Nothing. It's very, very simple. You just keep it refrigerated. And you would also, the way you would utilize that would be throughout the week, and it's not an everyday thing. I can explain how that works. And your dosage is truly bio individual. Depends on the individual, the results we're looking for, and also um, the amount of body fat someone needs to lose. Okay, it's going to do a lot more in body fat, but what we like to say is this: use the dosage. So it's a weird saying. It's a minimum effective dose, right? We use the least amount you need to get the maximum dose, which is another way of saying this: use the most that you can without creating any type of side effect. It
Mhm.
balances out to the same, but we microdose it. As far as side effects with it,
Might be
if
gastric
you
distress.
yeah, if you use too much of it, you're not going to eat. You literally will have aversion to food. I don't care if it's your favorite food. I don't care if it's a chocolate cupcake or whatever you like, or pizza, or whatever. You'll be like, I don't want it.
Mhm.
You literally will not want it. So that's a negative side effect, actually. The only other side effect really that we know of with it, and everyone is different. When you do peptides, this particular peptide, there could be, if you overdose, you can feel a little bit of nausea if when you do the injection afterwards, and usually just it will go away. Your body gets used to it, and or do it when you eat something. But that even like for me, zero side effect. Lydia, zero side effect with retatrutide.
Mhm.
And again, the amount is so small that you're utilizing, and what we're always playing err on the safe side. I know when you go to a clinic and you get this done, they're going to have you write it like 2 to 4 milligrams, which is a very high dose. We might titrate somebody up to that should they have a lot of body fat to lose. But we always start really slow, and low and slow, so your body can adapt to it. What typically causes side effects is the physiology of your body changing quickly. That's why there's not really a known uh, pharmaceutical drug that doesn't have some form of side effect, because it literally changes the physiology of your body quickly. Where vitamins, minerals, nutraceuticals, things change they take, 60, 90, 120 days to really get the physiological response. That time frame allows your body to adapt to it, so it
Mhm.
doesn't create that, oh, wait, what's this? And now I have to create some cytokine storm and go over and attack it because I don't know what this substance is that's doing to
Mhm.
my body. Does that make sense?
That's wonderful, and that alone should make you wanna do it. I have family members, coworkers, they're all like the craze, right? Wegovy, singing the songs. We
Mm,
actually are like, "You're crazy." And let me tell you something, they're sick as a dog.
Mhm.
They're
yep.
either throwing up or they're in the bathroom, and it's violent. Like, I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't even know how to help
It's
you right
dosage.
now."
It's
Yeah.
it's dosage dependent. What they're and here's so was that Melissa speaking?
Yep.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, thank you. So, Melissa, here's the thing. It's dosage dependent, and also what they're doing is this: most of the GLPs have a 6 day half life. What that basically means is after 6 days, 5 to 6 days, half of the medication is gone out of your system, no longer effective. Okay. So what they're doing is they're usually dosing people once a week. So two things are happening. In order to get the levels up to saturate the cells and the tissues where they need to be, which by the way takes about 4 weeks to remain or reach full saturation. So like week one, you might not even notice something, but by week four, it's at full saturation. Now, and some people like me, first day I did it, and it was a very small dose. Lydia, the same way. I was starting to eat, and I was like, "Holy cow, I'm full." Which, by the way, ladies, for those of you who don't know me, those words don't come out of my mouth except after my third plate of food on Thanksgiving. I'm just weird like that. I have got
Mhm.
an appetite that's ridiculous, but I also control what I eat because I have to. I'd be massive. But I can say this, that it literally reduces the food noise and creates satiety very quick at a very small dose. But what I did and what Lydia did is we microdosed. So we actually did it 3 times a week. What I recommend for people to do is either 3 or 2 times a week. Why? Let's say you do a Monday and a Thursday. Well, it takes 3 days to fully get in your system, 6 days to be halfway out. Well, if I'm doing it Monday, Thursday, and then again Monday, I'm keeping a baseline. I'm not having peaks and troughs. So it's not
Mhm.
where all of a sudden my hunger's going away and then coming back, going away, coming back. Also, it allows me to use small doses over a period of time. What they're doing is twofold. They're giving people either a high dose right away, or even if it's a medium dose to get their body used to it, they're giving it to them only once a week. So
Mhm.
let's say they're giving them 2 milligrams at first. Well, I could divide that down to, or let's say 3 milligrams. It's easier in my head. Then I could divide that into 1 milligram, a few days later, another milligram, a few days later, another milligram. At the end of 7 days, I got 3 milligrams, but I didn't get it all at one time. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? That's what's causing a lot of people to feel ill. Is it's all the poison is in the dosage,
Right.
period.
That's either, and that's what determines something, whether it's a treatment or or a poison, is
Right.
the dosage, right?
Exactly.
It's all in the dosage.
Exactly. The
And
only other side effect too, just to be truth be told, is you could have a little redness area where you were to inject, and you're always moving the spot around when you do it. You're not injecting the same spot. And again, it's such a small little needle. Um, but the GLP ones have to be like that have to be taken as an injection.
yeah, and because I want to talk about the PPC, right, and the
Hmm.
mitoshred, but one thing
Yeah.
with the like the retatrutide, just to add on to that, because we tested it, we wanted to test it before we would talk about it, because we don't test everything, but we do research everything. And um, to me, these three things that we're talking about today are really game changers for women over 40, because one of the things that I talk about when I do the web class is that the reason that we created hormone macro code, because we were able to identify the pitfalls of what women were struggling with. And the peptides are able to give the system even that extra edge. Hormones, BHRT is able to give the system in which you're following that extra edge, because food, I'm going to hammer this home, food is still critically important, and the ratios in which you get them in. And that's why Ryan and I won't talk about some things publicly, because we know one of the biggest downfalls of like the GLP-1s and the trizepatide is that they're not giving the food education first. And now people are
Hmm.
going out, and then now they're trying to reverse it. They're going and losing all that muscle. They're having all the side effects. They're overdosing versus microdosing. So that it just makes a big difference in everything on how you experience it. But the retatrutide, I personally fell in love with it. Just seeing the results myself physically, but even with our women that are, and you, Melissa, you haven't taken the carb profile tolerance, the tolerance profile yet, but majority of the women are type 4, meaning that we look at bagels, I say the word pasta, and your thighs are swelling. You're swelling up and gaining weight just by saying it. Um, and so for those women that are type 4, that retatrutide is huge in reversing that carb intolerance and making you more
Hmm.
carb tolerant and insulin sensitive, in which what you want. I could keep going on that. Um, but Ryan, let's talk about
Yeah.
the gut and PPC, because one of the things I wanted to
Actually,
hear
let's
today,
let's let's do. Can we do this instead? Instead of
yeah,
BPC, can we talk about mitoshred first? And there's a reason why I want to do that.
yeah, we could do that, because then I
Is
want
that
to
okay?
talk about prioritizing, because
Yep.
like we got the supplements, that base supplements, then we got base peptides, then we have BHRT. Let's prioritize for them so they're not like, I got to get everything, I got to do everything. Let's look at the budget. Let's look at what you're looking to
Sure.
achieve, type of thing. So I just wanted to get
Okay.
through that. Okay.
Also, I just want to address what Gigi just asked, what the B stands for, BHRT, and I wrote bioidentical. She gets it, but I want everybody to understand that. So simply, hormone replacement therapy is, well, back in the day was always done synthetically, and I know Lydia always harps on this. The bioidentical just simply means this: that your body does not recognize it as a foreign substance outside your own body. It thinks this is part of its own DNA, its own saliva, its own everything. So your body doesn't recognize it as something different, so it works with it, not against it.
Mhm.
Okay. So I just want to get that out of the way. Now, MitoShred. Why do I love this as well? So this is a product we actually help the name MitoShred, if you look up, you're not going to find it out there. We actually created the product. And what we did is we put together 3 compounds. We put together 2 peptides and 1 mineral, which is just magnesium. And there's a reason we add that. So what is MitoShred? So it's created by 2 different, and you don't have to know all this, but I just want you to understand what it is. 2 different peptides, one called 5-amino-1-MQ. Okay, what does that do? It helps provide benefits for fat loss, metabolic health, anti-aging, improving your insulin sensitivity, supporting your muscle regeneration and preservation, as well as recovery from exercise. It does not at all have an appetite suppressant to it. And the way it works is it inhibits an enzyme called NNMT, which stands for nicotinamide. Yeah, nicotinamide. Oh my gosh, I want to say it. It drives me nuts every time. NNMT. It's why there's a reason we say NNMT, but it's nicotinamide N-methyltransferase. That's why we say NNMT. What does this do? It actually helps to increase energy expenditure and improves insulin sensitivity. In a sense, this is what the NNMT does. Is NNMT is directly linked to obesity and weight gain. So we want to reduce that enzyme in our body, and that's what this does. It inhibits that enzyme, essentially allowing for, again, improved insulin sensitivity and improved energy expenditure, how you burn and utilize calories. The other peptide that we put together in this is something called SLU-PP332. What does that do? Again, craziest names, I know, but it's just simply a peptide. It's a small chain of amino acids. It's going to provide things very similar, but some unique differences: fat loss, improved insulin sensitivity, muscle preservation, anti-aging, and cognitive function. Now, what's really wild about this, well, first of all, the way it works too, it works as it's called an ERR, estrogen-related receptor, but it's non-selective, very safe for the body. Now, what this does is it's an exercise mimic. What does that mean? It mimics exercise, which is nuts from a acute aerobic standpoint, okay? Meaning utilizing oxygen. Therefore, it's like doing cardio without doing cardio. Now, ladies, for years, people have said, man, if you can only bottle it up, put it in a pill, and I could just take a pill and get in shape. Well, it's pretty much here. That does not mean you can sit on the couch, consume this, and just boom, get in great shape. No, it's going to, yeah, it still will speed up your metabolic rate. It increases thermogenesis, so you will actually burn more calories just by consuming it. But by doing this, utilizing this, and actually moving and exercising and strength training and even walking, it will enhance the effects. It's kind of one of those 1 + 1 = 3. And that's why we put these 2 together. So in a sense, the primary use for this SLU-PP332 is what? Fat loss and metabolic health, right? The primary use for the 5-amino-1-MQ is fat loss and muscle preservation. Why is that important? Both are going to help drop fat. It's going to help with speeding up your metabolic rate, but it's also helped to hold on to that muscle tissue. As I said earlier, the most important thing is holding on to muscle tissue. The balancing act when you're in a calorie deficit, which, by the way, you cannot lose body fat unless you are in a calorie deficit. The downfall of being in a calorie deficit is if it's too big of a deficit, you create metabolic adaptation, you slow your metabolism, and you create sarcopenia. You'll actually catalyze your muscle. You will lose muscle. So that's why this is so powerful. But why is it powerful, even more powerful, and more like a 1 + 1 = 4 when you combine this one with retatrutide? Because with retatrutide, we know now that you can eat at a maintenance level, and along with this, eat at a maintenance level of calories and still lose body fat while gaining muscle, which is nuts. That you can actually eat at a baseline where you're only going to burn so much. You're eating at the line where you say, I'm not going to build muscle, or I'm not going to gain fat, I'm not going to lose fat. It's called maintenance for a reason. I'm staying here. But because the retatrutide is speeding up your metabolic rate along with the MitoShred, It's literally allowing you to speed up your metabolism, burn more calories while eating still your maintenance level. So now when you eat at a slight caloric deficit, think about how many more calories you're actually burning compared to energy in, energy out expenditure. It's
And you don't
huge.
necessarily have to do both, right?
No. But not at all. In fact, no. To me, there's three ways to approach it. Maximum results.
Mhm.
Retatrutide with MitoShred. Because what's going to happen is MitoShred's not going to reduce or create any type of appetite suppression.
Yeah, that's what I
And
was
it's going to
looking.
speed up your metabolic rate, and it's going to speed up how much body fat you burn. It's going to help with cognitive function. It's going to help with insulin sensitivity along with the retatrutide. Okay, so you're literally hitting it. And the reason these all work well is if you notice the different receptor agonists I talked about, none of them are the same.
Mhm.
So there's no cross paths because what happens is when you cross over and are using different peptides that are all focusing on the same receptor, that's where you downregulate a receptor. That's where you create side effects.
So I think that's kind of too, like, because Melissa says, holy moly, is there such a thing as taking too many peptides at a time? Asking,
Yeah.
asking for a friend. By the way, the consult is tomorrow. Are we able to order peptides when needed and ready? So that,
Yep.
and actually, so that would be my question for you, and I know the answer, right? But let's say budget is a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Which, how would I choose which would be best for me? Do you have like a couple
Okay.
questions or?
Yeah. Let me finish the other 2 points. The first point,
Okay,
maximum results, those two. That's maximum results. And they'll come back and answer all of Melissa's questions.
okay,
The second way to do it would be this. Retatrutide first.
okay.
When you're starting to come off retatrutide, if you're near your goal, add in, or you're not getting to the goal fast enough, add in MitoShred. The reason I like the MitoShred also is it will allow you to gain and maximize the benefits of retatrutide while keeping the retatrutide dose low, which mitigates the chances of side effects. As we said a little bit ago, if you have to use a higher dose of retatrutide to get the full effect, you're more prone to side effects because you're using more of something. Just like if you took too much vitamin C, guess what? You will have a blowout. Even though vitamin C is great, too much,
Okay,
out
yeah,
it goes.
you're right, you're right.
So same thing. We want to give you enough to get the result you want, but we want to keep that enough. We want to keep that amount as low as possible. By adding in MitoShred, it mitigates the side effects because they're all working on different pathways. The last way would be if you don't have, and also this, if you don't have, if you already have a suppressed appetite, if you already have metabolic adaptation, if it's already hard for you to get the amount of calories, and for a lot of women it is, and the reason is because they don't have the muscle mass again, okay? It's because the more muscle you have, the more calories your body's going to require. And if you
Mhm.
don't have a lot, your body's not burning as much, so therefore it's not hungry. If you're not hungry, start moving more. Cause your body to want more calories. I'm a big proponent. Lydia's a big proponent. Don't reduce your calories more, increase your activity more. Because
Mhm.
remember, it's a balancing act. You can either consume less calories and do the same amount of activity, or you can increase your calories and then increase your activity. That's way healthier. But again, within reason, even for cardio, we still only recommend walking, but you should get 10,000 steps a day as an average. And you can go higher. Sometimes it might be lower. It depends. So the last way I would do it would be if you don't have if you have a problem with consuming too much food already, like you're like, I can't eat it. I'm not hungry. Then I would do the MitoShred because that is not going to at all reduce your appetite. Does that make sense? Okay.
It really
So
makes sense. I mean, like for me, like, and I don't think like a lot of people don't realize we stay on point because we're disciplined. We learn to be
yeah,
disciplined. But I'm a big, and actually I can't say that now. I was a big sugar addict. I controlled my sugar intake. I love sugar. I would always say, my drug of choice is sugar. And with the Reddit, so if you're that type of person, or if you have a lot of food noise that like Ray talked about, that is a big shift for me. Like it's easy for me to say no to sugar since I started it. And even like before, I don't know if I'm the type of person, if I did a bite of a piece of chocolate cake, I'm eating another bite and another bite and another bite. Like I'll say, oh, only one bite. But literally with the retatrutide, I can literally have one bite and stop. That's been a big shift for me. Like even just
And
like
here's the thing too.
pastas and
It's
things
not
like
even
that.
it's not even that you want that you're like, oh, I can stop. It's like I actually don't want another bite.
Mhm.
Which and there is a difference in that. Like
Yeah,
and one is self-control, the other one was like, I don't even have the craving for it.
right. And that's been huge. That's what
Yeah,
I
huge.
on top of I it helped me drop the, I gained 10 pounds. I don't know if you guys know this, I've talked about it before. But over a process of 18 months, I went into two different surgeries. I had complete capsulectomy, reconstruction, replacement, and it went through menopause at the same time. And it just wrecked my metabolism, everything. And I gained 10 pounds, which some people are like, well, I gained it all over, but when you don't feel well, you don't feel well. And even though I was doing all the things, it helped give that extra edge because it's like the weight wasn't, I was like, I 1 or 2 pounds, 1 or 2 pounds.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, when we did the retatrutide, it was a pound a week. I was dropping and I've kept it off and I'm eating. It's like, I'm not under eating. I'm definitely eating. And go ahead, Ryan, but I just wanted
I
to
just
say
want to
that.
go just line by line so we don't miss anything, Melissa, with your
Yeah.
question. Such a thing as taking too many. Yeah, there is. And it goes back to using ones that cross over the same pathways on the same receptors. Now, um, anything we're saying right now, no, you can use all these ones. Also, it depends on like what we like to tell people when it comes to peptide use, because there's peptides for so many things. But if your focus is weight gain, I'm sorry, yeah, fat loss, then don't also try to do peptides that you're trying to really put on a ton of muscle, right? Because they're kind of counterintuitive. If you're trying to drop a bunch of body fat and put on a lot of muscle, it can't happen at the same time. You can, in the same time frame, you can reduce body fat and add muscle, but not if someone's like, I really want to pack on a lot of muscle. Then you're going to have to eat a lot more. If you're
Mhm.
doing something to reduce your caloric intake and speed up your metabolic rate, it's counterproductive. Okay. So that's what I would say. But you can take things such as you want to drop some body fat, you want to maybe put on a little bit and preserve the muscle. And also, you want some cognitive improvement as far as memory or brain fog or anti-aging. Absolutely, those don't impede with one another. So that to answer that question, as far as are you able to order peptides? Yes, you don't need blood work for that at all. You can order peptides um, at any time.
Yeah,
That's
when
not a
you get the
problem.
consult. We
And
do
then it's
suggest though optimizing your hormones, right?
yes,
You could do it at the same time, but don't do this and not do your hormones.
yeah, yeah. Don't do the consult and say, okay, I'm just going to get the peptides. I'm not going to worry about my blood work
Right,
and optimize my hormones. Because if
right.
you did one or the other, if you optimize hormones or you did peptides, I'll tell you right now, you're going to feel better with optimizing hormones. There's just no doubt. But to speed up your result, that's where the peptides come into play.
Right.
Whatever the result is you're looking for.
And the
Okay.
miter shred's a capsule, by the way.
Yeah, that's the other thing I want to say. The MitoShred is oral. So it's a capsule. You take 1 to 4. It says take 1 to 2. You can take up to 4 a day. What it's going to do is it's going to basically speed up the way your mitochondria spin, which your mitochondria ATP, the powerhouse of the cell, that's what it's doing. It's creating mitochondrial health and cell at literally this is all working at a cellular level. Those
Mhm.
you just take as a capsule. The retatrutide is an injection. The way we would recommend that is either 2 or 3 times a week, and we would work with you on that and make that specific recommendation for you, along with the dosage will all be set up for you, and you guarantee your titrate from low up to a higher dose, and then start to titrate back down when you're near the end.
Right. Any other questions before we move forward or ahas? Okay. Let,
BPC.
let's talk about BBC and why is
Mhm.
it important?
So before we go into any of you ladies, have you heard of BPC? And Teresa, Sharice, y'all don't count because you've heard us talk about it, but you always count. But ladies, have you guys heard of BPC 157? It's probably the most widely known and used peptide today.
Did
I
you
got
see?
an O. I have a feeling Gigi meant no.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay, so BPC, and again, great names, right? SLU 332, CJC 1295, AOD 9604. These are all peptide names. I kid you not. R2D2, that's a Star Wars character. But when it comes to BPC 157, again, just a chain of short chain of amino acids. It stands for body protecting compound. It's made in your gut. Your body already produces it. Okay, in the gastric juices. It's known as the Wolverine peptide. And if you know the comic book or you know the Marvel character Wolverine, what is he known for? He gets ripped open, he heals fast. So what it does is it will heal soft tissue at an accelerated rate. So body protective compound, BPC 157. It's going to we have access to it again in a oral capsule. It comes two different ways. You can inject it. It's systemic, so it goes wherever your body needs, or you can get it in an oral capsule. To get it now through our USP compound pharmacy, which means United States Pharmacopoeia Compound Pharmacy, we can't get the injectable form anymore. Why? Because the FDA, they didn't ban it. What they did about 19, 20 months ago is they removed it from the approved list for medical use, which is funny because they claim that there's insufficient evidence to support its safety and efficacy. But here's the funny thing about it. The reason is because they're worried about potential of abuse and specifically in athletes. Why is that? Because they look at it as a performance enhancing drug, just like testosterone. Why? It allows the body to heal quicker. Interesting. Also, they
Mhm.
don't have a way to monetize it, but you can
Mhm.
still get it in oral form. Now, if somebody had an issue that, in fact, I think with Gigi, it was you that mentioned, I saw earlier, frozen shoulder. Yes, it could absolutely, I'm not going to say will, not allowed to say it, but it can absolutely help with that. And I'll tell you why, but for multiple reasons. But we actually have something, if somebody wanted a systemic form that goes way past the gut and we know can get directly to any other spot in the body, it's called PDA, uh, pentadeca arginate. What it is, it's BPC with arginate added, which makes it stable. It's a stable form of BPC. That was the workaround by the pharmacies to still be able to administer it to people through a pharmaceutical grade. But I can also tell you this, that our oral capsule is pharmaceutical grade. A lot of the peptides that you order online that you find that say research use only, not for human consumption, is food grade. And they say that because they're not coming from a USP pharmacy. And ours are all coming as a pharmaceutical grade. So we don't have to say anything about being research use and research lab only, because that's not where we're getting them. So when it
You're
comes
not a
to
guinea pig.
exactly when it comes comes to the BPC, why I like the oral form. One, you don't have to, you don't have to inject it. Two, it's easy for us to get for you now, but it's going to enhance your gut lining. So any type of gut issues, remember your serotonin is produced in your gut. Your gut is known as your second brain. There's
That's
a
your
gut brain
biome.
axis. What's that, Lynn?
Your estrobiome is in your gut.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the outside of your brain and your heart beating, it's probably the next most important thing in your entire body is your gut. But it's going to help with promoting angiogenesis, which encourages the form of new blood cells or new blood vessels, which is going to help deliver nutrients and oxygen to the tissues to promote faster healing. Stimulates growth factor. It strengthens your gut barrier, so helps to reduce inflammation, helps protect against gut damage. So if you think about the 90, probably 9% of people in the United States that have leaky gut, here is the answer to it. What it's going to go in and do and help with improving your gut function. It's going to basically go in and your microbiome, your microbiome. So what's going to do is if you think about your gut lining, think about it like this, like notches. And leaky gut is these tight junctures, these cells, these molecules holding together, and some of them literally being loose and allowing for food, nutrients that we eat to permeate through your intestinal wall and then get into the body, which is not good. So what this is doing is literally bringing it back together, locking it up, and allowing your body to have a tight junction. So your intestinal tract is basically we'll call it like Teflon coated. That's my way of saying it. Allowing everything to go through and actually go through the right way and not seep out the cracks. So it's literally healing the gut, which is, well, probably the best thing you could possibly do. But then from there, if you have other issues because it is systemic, it'll go wherever the body needs it, which is awesome.
So Melissa's asking about herniated disc or bulging disc, and one of the things I do know, she's doing the decompression, like
Yep.
with her chiropractor, because she has the same
Yep.
issue I have, right, as far as the degenerative disc.
Okay. This is what I would say. Um, there's two options unless you could go. You can try the oral or the injectable. The injectable would be BPC, would be PDA. One of there's only one downfall to it. It's not the injection versus the swallowing of a pill. PDA costs more money. BPC is not very expensive at all. BPC, sorry, PDA, all these acronyms. The PDA does cost more. It's a more stable form. But something like that, what works really good is when you stack two different peptides. Like for instance, retatrutide is a triple agonist. You can use something like the PDA injection along with something called TB4, which is thymosin beta 4, which your thymus gland produces that. What is that? If you think about as we get older, by the way, it calcifies and it doesn't produce the same amount and eventually stops producing any. When we were kids, we used to run around outside. Well, I just say that alone is shocking. We used to actually go outside and play when we were kids. But when we did that, we never the next day would be sore. You'd go to bed beat up, you'd wake up fine. Now we go to bed fine, we wake up sore. But the reality is, we don't have the same enzymes, hormones, and everything else in our body to allow our body to heal. So what TB4 is literally that. It's a healing cascade. It allows your body to heal faster, and it works directly like BPC on soft tissue. So what I did specifically for me, like for my tendonitis in my forearm, my elbow, and my shoulders that I tore, and my bicep that I tore, I used the PDA and the thymosin beta 4, and you can get those through us. That would be injectable. Okay. But you can also try with the oral BPC. And I would probably say and again, if budget is not an issue, then I would do the other ones. But if you're trying to make it as budget friendly as possible for something like that, I would try the oral because it's a lot less money and there's no negative to it. Like literally no negative. If anything, it's going to heal your gut, which is going to allow for a cascade of a lot of other positive things that are going to happen because you're going to start to absorb the
And you're
nutrients
talking
your
about
body needs.
the BBC?
BPC
And
for
that's
the
one of
herniated
the things
disc.
that I recommend for all of you ladies. You gotta do they have, no, if you've
No,
already
you don't need
done a
blood work.
consult, you don't have to do another consult. But if you haven't done a consult, you need to do a consult to just
Yep.
order it. But if you've done a consult, we we just have to contact Adam, right?
Yeah, we'll just contact our consultant. We'll go ahead and get you
Yeah,
guys you can order the BPC. Once you've done a
yeah,
consult, you don't have to keep doing the consult.
yeah.
It's just
That's
an initial evaluation to find out,
yeah.
okay, what are your needs? And then from there, you can order anything that you want. It's
But
not a problem.
I recommend that we recommend that for everybody because of the gut.
BPC has basically become like vitamin D for people or
Mhm.
omegas. It is, in fact, it's going to allow your vitamin D, your omegas, your everything else that you consume to work that much better because
Mhm.
it's literally healing the gut and it's reducing any type of inflammation and systemic inflammation in the body. For me, I've noticed too that with training the way we do 3 days a week, but heavy lifting, and just as we start to mature in our chronological age, uh, joints are fine. They don't hurt. They don't crack. They're not sore. They're like so different now since I personally, I'm speaking for myself, been using certain peptides, BPC absolutely being one of them. And the same thing with BPC. It's not something you take forever, but you can. But the way you do it is if you let's say you did it for like a few months, you take a few weeks off just so you don't downregulate your receptors. And then you can do it again. And again, the dosage, they come in 250 micrograms, and you would take 1 to 2 a day. Melissa, hands down 2 a day, and I would split the dose morning and night. You could probably even do 3 a day if you wanted, but I don't know if there's any. We don't know clinically and scientifically is there any added benefit to a higher dose of it. What we do know is there's no known upper limit threshold that causes any side effect, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's huge. Tress is asking, is there anything to help rebuild cartilage, bone on bone? Would that be like the exosomes, right?
Yeah. If the thing is a lot of times now, do you know it's direct bone on bone and there's absolutely not one bit of soft tissue there? Because if there's any bit of soft tissue, that's the BPC, that's the thymosin beta 4. That can help with that for sure.
And just so
But
you
if
know,
it's direct bone on bone, I don't know.
yeah, some of the things that we're going to be doing, we do our live Q&As talking about BHRT or talking about peptides. But for those individuals that are doing peptides, ordering peptides and things like that and the BHRT, we're going to be doing some virtual clinics just for those people. So we can have that discussion of, you know, I have this or not, I have this, but would this help? And then where I can help guide you more, because this can be a long conversation, as you can see, like, because all of us have something. We're like, I got this and I got this.
Well,
I do.
and there are literally peptides for
Yeah.
just about everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a great idea. And one of the things I would say, Teresa, is this: where it can help, and like, simply as BPC and even the oral form, once that heals that gut, right, is the fact that it's going to help heal again the damaged tissue, but it's going to reduce inflammation. So by reducing inflammation around a joint and in a joint is going to aid. Now, is it going to completely alleviate? I don't know if you have nothing there but bone on bone, but it does help prevent against further damage, right? So it's a possibility. The good thing is by consuming the BPC, um, it's going to do something good in your body. If it doesn't directly, affect that area, it's going to do other things in their body. Because even you might think, well, my gut, but then you don't realize that there's so many other inflammatory markers and things in your body, in your joints that need help, whether it's caused from poor diet, lack of movement, whatever it may be, that the BPC is definitely going to help with. So hopefully that helps.
And just a few things, and if, whatever you could, guys, you can take yourself off mute or type in the chat as far as questions. It's fine. Talking about prioritizing things. Okay, so and I want to remind you, let food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food. Make sure that we're getting our food on point. Doesn't mean that it's perfect, but we know what our protein grams should be, and we'll go over that here in a few minutes. And you're getting calories in that you need. Then it's getting your labs done. BHRT. You can do BHRT and peptides at the same time. They don't have to be separate, but BHRT is the priority. Because optimizing your hormones, you're doing your body a disservice if you don't optimize your hormones. And then honestly, you're just throwing, like I talked about yesterday, you're just throwing crap at a wall and see what sticks. When
You
we
don't want
know,
a Ferrari body with a Ford engine.
right. So then let's scale it down budget wise, right? So because yesterday I talked about the base supplementation, omega-3s, vitamin D, probiotics, liver support, and magnesium. Let's say if I had to choose for you because it's budget, or maybe you're just a person, sometimes I get sick of taking supplements. What would that priority be? And it would be vitamin D, magnesium, and the PPC. Like those three things. So it would be, because with probiotics, probiotics are important, but you can get it in your food. Right. But we know that women need that vitamin D for hormone balance, for immune system, for your bones, all the things. And majority of women that, just women in general, but let's add in menopause, that our vitamin D, we don't utilize it, right? We don't metabolize it properly, especially if you're Black, Asian, Mexican, Native American, live in northern states or the whatever, no sunshine, you're having issues with vitamin D. But only plastic surgery will give you a Ferrari body if you have
And by the way,
poor.
I want to point this out too. As Lydia said, vitamin D is required by everyone, right? Take the sun away from a flower and it will never bloom. It
Right.
won't or flourish. The human body needs it. And as she just mentioned, it's if you think about it, look at how important it is as far as, and again, the easier you tan and the darker your skin, the more vitamin D you need.
Mhm.
Let's just let's look at the world right now on Earth. The closer you get to the equator, the darker the skin is on individuals. The further away you go, the lighter the skin. Go to Norway. You're not going to see a lot of tan people there at all.
Right.
Why is that? And here's the thing. Why is that? Believe it or not, this is crazy, but they won't live and they'll be extremely ill because their vitamin D production will be so low because of the sunlight that they do not get there. And it's again, they might say, well, there's still sun. Of course there's sun, but the sun and the earth, right, work on different axes and different angles. That's why in January, the sun does not produce the same amount of radiation or
UV rays.
allow your body to produce the same amount of vitamin D as it does in July
Mhm.
or June. It's completely different. The amount of sunlight you need in January is predominantly more than it is in June to allow your body to create the same amount of vitamin D. And the reason optimizing your hormones is so key for multiple things, including your immune system. Without immune system, you're dead, by the way. We can be as fat or as lean as you want. If you're dead, you're dead. And or if you're sick, you're sick.
Mostly
Because this
dead.
is why, yeah, your vitamin D is produced by the sun. But the way it's produced is the sun goes through the skin. It combines with two things, testosterone and cholesterol. Those two things have to be present in your body for vitamin D to even be created and utilized by the body. So think about it. It's kind of like a plant. It needs sun. But what else does that plant need? Soil and what? Water. Well, your body needs the vitamin D from the sun, but it also needs to have testosterone and cholesterol. Without those, with any one of those missing, your body doesn't produce vitamin D and your immune system is tanked
Mhm.
and you will be sick and you'll feel horrible. And it's more than just your immune system, vitamin D does. It's utilized for
Cool.
just like magnesium. It's needed by almost every single cell of your body.
Helps with your testosterone levels. Helps with your estrogen levels.
Mhm.
Yeah, Alicia says, whoa.
That's why it's vital to take vitamin D. And it's vital to when you do this is the other thing I would recommend. When you request the hormone panel, when you're requesting your blood work, ask to do a vitamin D.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, they don't always do it. But we
Right.
want you to say you want your vitamin D checked because you want to be optimal levels. And then you can play with the dosage of how much vitamin D that you need. And I'm going to toot our own horn for a second. Our vitamin D is probably the best one you're going to get in the market. The way that it's been put together with the vitamin D3 and K2, which is using a specific form of MK7. You need that to transport the D to where it needs to go, and it doesn't calcify in the arteries
Mhm. Yeah,
to actually
Gigi's
utilize it.
saying, Gigi's saying I was slowly sliding down into osteoporosis when my MD finally ordered the vitamin D test. It was way low and my skin has a tendency to tan easily. Yeah, I tan real easy and my vitamin D was low and now it's not. And what's great about vitamin D, just in general, um, like if your vitamin D is low, you can up your dose for a period of time and it doesn't have to stay there because when you start getting your vitamin D at optimal levels, you can help you keep it there by just doing the regular dosage. So you up it for a while and then you get to bring it back down to a normal dose. But I was talking about those things. Obviously, I would do the base, but like omega 3s you can get through your food. For me, I have to take an omega 3 because
Most people will never get the amount they need because unless
I
you're
don't
eating
eat
fish almost
seafood.
every day.
Yeah, I don't eat it, don't like it. Vitamin D is critical. Probiotics you can get through food. Liver support is big, but like if you're doing like, it just depends on what your priority and what your budget. like if budget's not an issue, then you do all of them. If budget is an issue, vitamin D, magnesium, and get that PPC 157, BPC 157. Those are something you can do forever in a sense. When it comes to like the mitostred and the retatrutide's not for everyone, but the mitostred is. Like it doesn't matter, like even you, Alicia, you're not looking to lose weight because you're built like a nugget, you're a little tiny thing put in my pocket. Um, muscle, building muscle, maintaining muscle,
Improving
and
improving insulin sensitivity, cognitive function, anti-aging, all that.
right, right. So that would be for everyone. But again, it's dependent on your budget. You have
Mhm.
questions, you can post them in the group, and when I say that, you can ask them now, but I'm saying as you're going along, you're saying, should I be doing this or that? And you're trying to figure things out because really, Rye and I are about MED. I don't want you to do a ton of things and then, yeah, I feel great, but I don't know what's working.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I would say this, if fat loss is your number one thing that you want to really do right now and body recomposition, and I would tell you, and if you can do it, retatrutide is going to be the first thing. Besides that, again, hormones first. From a
Yeah,
supplementation side of things, though, it would be retatrutide.
yeah,
To maximize the effect of it and have to take a smaller amount, which then allows it to last even longer, you would combine that with a mitoshred. Okay.
yeah.
If you're someone who says, look, I don't have, I'm already struggling with eating enough calories, then I would just do mitoshred because it will not cause any type of appetite suppression.
Right.
And
And
mitoshred is an oral, by the way, as the BPC is an oral. The retatrutide is a insulin injection.
yeah, and BBC and MitoShred, they just came out, Alicia. So you probably, if you haven't talked to Adam in a couple weeks, they weren't available. So you might have not ordered them. But now we recommend the BBC. Bottom line for everybody, every woman, as far as their gut, it's huge, along with the BHRT. Any final questions for Rye? Because I want to wrap some things up. I want to make sure that you have a focus going into this week. I want to hear from you guys on like some ahas. I know Sharice said you were going to share your ahas from yesterday, and I want to make sure everybody knows their protein to be on point going into this week.
Hi, yes, I booked my appointment. This is Sharice. So I did book my appointment for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was curious, and I apologize if I missed this. How long does it take for the items to arrive? And also, I don't know. I just again, I'm just now off the cleanse for a week and just really focusing on staying the course and tapping in. So, pushing myself to do the modules, not just on the weekend with my time that I have for myself to, journal or go over some things that have happened in the week as it pertains to this journey, but to tap in more often so that um, you don't get blindsided
Mm-hmm.
because you're feeling strong when you come off, and then there's some shifts that are being made and there's a routine. There's a how do I say, there's a transition between the new calories
Mm-hmm.
that has to be made and just being careful.
Right. Right. And so with that being said, Shondell should be posting within the next day or so because she's the accountability coach for our VIPs, and she'll be starting that cycle of accountability because everybody's going into that transition. So that'll be perfect to keep you on point. It'll probably be every other week, I believe we were doing, and Teresa can confirm that. So you have that support, and of course you have the group to ask questions, but um,
Ordering product, Sharice, what specific are you talking about? Because it depends on what it is. If it's hormones and it's the first time ordering, it will take a little bit longer because they have to do the first evaluation. You're going to speak with the doctor, right? She's going to go over your blood work and then it will be ordered. But then the pharmacy actually has to compound it and put your specific formula together because again, they're unique. Find out what delivery system you're going to utilize. Are you going to do all transdermal cream? Are you going to do a sub-Q injection of test and an oral progesterone and maybe a cream estrogen? So it all depends on that. When you reorder, it'll always be faster because it's already in their system. And they're basically clicking the button, compounding it, and sending it out. When they do send it, it's sent next day air. So you'll receive it literally the day after it's sent out. If it's anything else, when it comes to the peptides, like let's say retatrutide, which is also retatrutide is also going to be sent next day. It's going to come reconstituted, coming directly from the compound pharmacy. The oral ones will come from our distribution center, which are local to us, which will be sent out within a couple days of ordering it. Those will not go next day because they don't have to. Things like testosterone has to be because it's a controlled substance. They can't have that sitting out in the airways of the male, if you
Okay.
will.
In general, that we just tell everybody like 10 business days
And
minimum.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's usually a lot quicker. And also when it's coming from the compound pharmacy, it also depends on all the other orders they've received. Because it's not like we own the compound pharmacy.
Okay. I
And then
got it.
and here's another great, I'm glad you asked the question, because when you're running low on something, especially hormones, you don't want to run out. So when you get down to within the last 2 to 3 weeks is when you would place you would contact them for your second order again, or third, or whatever you're on. Because once you start, here's the thing about where hormones are different than peptides. Once you start the hormone therapy, that's something it becomes lifestyle. You don't ever want to stop unless you want to feel like crap again, let your hormones tank, because they will not just stay up. They just don't. With the peptides, what we like about the peptides is it helps to actually set a new baseline. But you don't ever want to use a peptide to replace a healthy lifestyle. Right now, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I'm just reiterating and redriving home a fact that when you do something with hormones and specifically peptides, the point is to accelerate the results you're getting by doing all the other things right, which is if you look at the hormone hierarchy that Lydia has on the board, you got to even still be eating right. You still want to do, the proper fasting for you. You still want to exercise and rest. You still want to do all those things, but then they don't replace a healthy lifestyle. They enhance a healthy lifestyle. And what I love is they make sticking to a lifestyle that much easier, because again, it's reducing the food noise, it's reducing the cravings, it's making you want to do things that create health because your body is literally enjoying it. That if you think about, that's why when you're full, you never go, just give me another plate of broccoli. No, because your body, why? Because it's nutrient. We laugh, but here's the actual science behind it. It's full of nutrients. Your body is nutrient full. It doesn't want any more. But how many of you, and don't lie, and I can guarantee it's everyone on here, that you are full. But then all of a sudden, they're like, take a look at the dessert menu. You're like, no, I don't want it. But your friend or spouse or loved one or kid got something. You're looking at it. You're like, no, that actually looks good. Now, if you look at broccoli, doesn't look good. You look at the chocolate cake or whatever your poison is, you're like, okay, that I could have some of that. And you eat a little bit. And it's no problem eating. You're like, I'm fine. Why? Because it has almost zero nutritional value.
Wow.
Your value is full. It's not, but when you eat that stuff, there's almost no nutritional value. There's no gauge on it.
There's a story that I've shared before, and it's Alan Stein. I have it written down here. Alan Stein Jr. He is a mindset guy, and he shared a story about meeting Kobe Bryant. And all of you guys know who Kobe Bryant is, right? One of the best basketball players known to play the game. And he got the opportunity to actually observe one of Kobe's workouts. Now, Kobe he had a formal 2 hour workout, and he would start at 4 a.m. So Alan, he's talking about, he goes, so what I wanted to do, he goes, I was showing up, I was able to, be part of Kobe's workout. So I wanted to show up early. I didn't want to be late. I wanted to be ahead of the game. So I decided that instead of showing up at 4 o'clock when it starts, I'm going to show up at 3:30. So he shows up at 3:30 and he hears the squeak of tennis shoes on the floor. And he's hearing, and he walks in, and Kobe is in a full-on sweat, even before he started his formal workout with Alan. And then he takes Alan through his formal workout, and Alan looks at him, he goes, Kobe, he goes, that was super basic. he goes, because when he did the workout, it was basic drills. It was layup, 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 free throw, free throw, free throw, rebound, rebound, rebound. And he was like, he asked Kobe, he goes, why was that so basic? He goes, you're the best player in the world, and you repeated the basics for 2 hours over and over and over. And Kobe looked at him, he goes, why do you think I'm the best player in the world? Because he's learned to master the basics. Never get bored with the basics. I want you to keep that in your mind's eye as you start going through your journey over this year, because there's going to be moments of excitement. There's going to be moments of frustration. There's going to be moments of sheer boredom and like, this is tedious and all the things. But this, remember, everything that you're doing is not just about your health, it's about the purpose that you're meant to fulfill. And in order for you to fulfill your purpose, this is a moment right now for all of you, right? Because we've been underserved, and there's going to be not only a renaissance in the health care industry, but a renaissance for women to take up a new form of leadership that's never been seen before. And I truly believe that every woman that comes into our circle are a part of that. And it takes energy, it takes stamina, it takes focus. So remember, just be excited and never get bored with the basics. So I hope this was helpful for you guys this weekend. And Rye, thanks for taking time out and sharing your knowledge. And have an amazing rest of the day. We love you and appreciate you, and go out and do great things. Love you guys.
Thank you.